They did it again, baby. West Virginia, two more players today and yesterday, if you count both days. One looks a lot like Fred Perry, the other, a lot like Jeff Weimer. Either way, West Virginia just got a lot better.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia as I adjust my camera here a little bit. It's like I'm off center just a touch. There we go. Thanks you guys so much for being in here as we dive into another one. It's that time again, baby. There, mama, there goes that man. The West Virginia Mountaineers and Richrod once again pull off an SEC flip, flipping a player from Arkansas to West Virginia, and another player that they've got to flip from Cal Poly. And I understand that you may have apprehension about a lower level player, but it's a skill position player, and he's got a lot of talent, and his recruitment is, in my opinion, hasn't been able to take off properly because he was from Alaska until this last year. So it's one of those cases where his recruitment was starting to ramp up and West Virginia nailed him down. So we're going to get into that. Obviously, we have some thoughts about Ross Hodge and some things that are being said about Coach Hodge in the last segment. I got some thoughts on that. What are people saying? Why do people want him fired already? We're going to break these two guys down one after the other as two more have committed. And yes, I mentioned Fred Perry. So let's jump into this as we thank the channel sponsor and FanDuel. Guys, right now, new customers can bet just $5. That'll make you holla. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today to get started. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, Mountaineers, every single day. I am alone this time. Nobody is joining me. That's okay. Figured I would do one alone today. All right, so let's dive into this. As we're going to start with the SEC flip. Linebacker Caleb Gordon was committed to Arkansas, but he flipped on the 24th, 11/24. Of course, my phone would go off immediately as soon as I hit play on here, guys. I apologize. I forget to turn my phone down almost every episode. He had previously committed to Arkansas, as we forgot about his recruitment being reopened, and then now in September after the firing of Coach Sam Pittman. So the other offers he had: Virginia Tech, Virginia, Clemson, App State, Charlotte, Liberty, Coastal Carolina, Georgia Tech, Memphis, North Carolina, Pitt. His top 8 included Virginia Tech, Virginia, and Clemson, and others. But you know what? West Virginia was able to get back in there. So his first initial unofficial visit to West Virginia was in the spring of 2025, which led to their offer, and then an official visit earlier in the fall for the Colorado game. So, guys, this kid has had one hell of a productive career. This past season, he had 123 tackles, 3 sacks, leading an unbeaten Ashbrook defense that allowed just over 10 points a game and only 2.6 yards per play. Career stats: 367 tackles, 25 for loss, 10 sacks, 3 interceptions, 180 yards for a touchdown, 4 fumbles, which had 4 of them, and 4 fumble recoveries. As a sophomore, he had 84 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and an interception. And he was a freshman starter on a varsity team that went to the playoffs. He is the 32nd commitment in our 2026 class, and he brings explosive athleticism to the linebacker spot, where West Virginia is set to lose a bunch of linebackers, as we know, at least 4 that I know of, which gives them a chance for some early snaps this season at linebacker in West Virginia's scheme. Here's my thing. Looking at him on tape, here's what he looks like to me. He looks like Fred Perry. That's what he looks like to me. He's undersized. He's 6 feet, 215 pounds. And he looks to me like he'd be slotted right into where Fred Perry was playing, which is a hybrid linebacker and nickel spot. As you see here, he had 3 or 4 interceptions as well as a bunch of tackles. And guys, I highly, highly, highly recommend going and watching this dude's tape. I don't think he's going to play traditional linebacker all the time. Now, maybe he could play some, at Will or Mike, sure. But I think he's going to be the nickel linebacker that Fred Perry is, which is you're playing in coverage. You're playing, you're basically a Swiss Army knife that can do a bit of everything. And he's really good at blitzing off the edge. They have done an incredible job at identifying a guy that can replace Fred Perry in some respect, because Fred Perry is the ideal. If you have an elite defense or some elite players around a guy like Fred Perry, you're so freaking dangerous. And that's what, Fred Perry, if we could have him one more year, guys, I'm telling you, he could have, I don't want to say a Heisman season. I don't want to go that far with it, but he could have an All-American season, I think, if Fred Perry could stay one more year. But, it's unfortunate because our defense just wasn't good enough this year. Well, this is a player that they can rework into the mold of a Fred Perry. So I'll be curious to see if Fred Perry comes on as a coach at some point in the future for Richrod, if he doesn't make it in the NFL, which he probably will. Although I don't know where he'll play in the NFL because he's right there in that tweener. But let's get back into the breakdown here. So his strengths: athletic linebacker who runs very well. He's got very good closing speed. He delivers punishing hits and attacks ball carriers with force. He's an aggressive option at the position, in my opinion. That's the thing I have written down here. I have written down aggressive in my notes here. That's what I've been doing all day. Is for the last couple hours is watching the film on him and the other guy. I've watched a couple games of Ashbrook and all the highlights that he has. I've looked over social media, try to get to know these people. As you break them down, I really have a good time doing it. I think that's where my passion comes from. But, he has a comfort level with West Virginia now after multiple visits. I think he understands what defensive coordinator Zach Alley is going to ask of him. And he was the lead recruiter here. And that's very important to note. Nobody knows what Zach Alley wants in his defense more than Zach Alley. So this is why the offer went out early in March. Let's get to that hard edge meter. Physicality and toughness is a category I'm going to use for him because I think it applies to the Fred Perry role. I almost thumbnailed this next Fred Perry, but I didn't feel like that was fair to put on his shoulders. I gave him a 9.2. He has punishing hits. He's a very forceful tackler and an aggressive tackler at that. Sometimes he over pursues. I give him a 9.2. Speed and agility is about an 8.5. He runs well. He's got really solid closing speed. I don't foresee any problems for him in this hybrid role. I'm assuming maybe they'll have him just as a linebacker, and I'm wrong, but I don't think so. But I'll be shocked if he doesn't end up in this Fred Perry role or in a role similar. And I haven't seen anybody report this. I'm making an assumption here, just so y'all know. He could be a traditional linebacker, but I would be kind of shocked. Technique, he's pretty good. He's got some stuff that he needs to work on, especially in pass. But, he is an effective tackler and fits the scheme. If you're looking for a guy that can come up and make plays, this guy's it. Instincts is very, very good. I really liked his instincts, 8.5. He's versatile. He can do multiple things. And he's going to be an early guy, a guy that's potentially early playing time, in my opinion, because he's already 6 feet, 215 pounds. He could play this nickel role if you really need him to. He really could. Versatility on the upside. I think he's an 8.0. He can play multiple linebacker spots. He's definitely not too small to play linebacker if you really need him to. But if you play a really physical team, it could be you may have to sub him out from time to time, unless he's really good at getting off blocks by that time in his career. We've seen smaller guys be good at that before. It's not like he can't be. Like a Jabril Peppers or Kaiser White, like those kind of players. Like he's in that mold of player. A Carl Joseph, similar. Carl Joseph would have been killer in that role for Carl Joseph. If that would have been around when Carl Joseph was at West Virginia, holy cow, dude. That's the kind of player you want in that Fred Perry role. This is that kind of player, in my opinion. I'm really excited about him. And there's a reason he was committed to the SEC, guys. There's a reason that Arkansas wanted him. And there's a reason Zach Alley said, listen, man, I know that the SEC looks tantalizing, but if you'll just give me a shot, and they gave him a shot. And who wouldn't want to play for Zach Alley in this defense for a composite score of 42.2 out of 50. Should have done some of those exercises that with my tongue today, the stuff, so I could talk right, because I'm like stumbling a little bit. Sorry, y'all. So 42.2 out of 50 is good. It could go a bit higher, but I think that's a good spot, right? You can't give everybody 46, 47, 48. I like him a lot. The fact that he was committed to the SEC is a big deal to me. The fact that he is athletic, what I consider a tweener at linebacker, 6 feet, 6'1", 215, 220, which, I mean, if you go, when we play Texas Tech on Saturday, that's what Jacob Rodriguez is, and he's being mentioned for the Heisman. So it's not like that you have to be these, like, even like guys like Zach Thomas is another Texas Tech legend. Sure, like there are plenty of times in life when linebackers are smaller. Not everybody's going to be a Josiah Trotter and be 6'3", 230, 40, 35 or 40 pounds. And that's okay. You don't always need them to be that, but it certainly helps, especially when they can run like Josiah can. All right, let's go to break on it. We'll come back and talk about another player that committed to West Virginia that West Virginia flipped, a wide receiver with a lot of Jeff Weimer type ability, right after the break. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the season or the game and want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving away $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins, but you can't win if you don't play. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel. It is the official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. All right, we're back here in segment 2, and I've got a little drink of Ado. So, okay, here we go. Second guy. This is a wide receiver that I'm excited about as well, by the name of Landon Drumm. Wide receiver / athlete. He's 6'2", 185, 190. Very similar to Jeff Weimer. Like I said, that's the comp here. Maybe not quite as big as Weimer, but he's in that range. So he played in Anchorage, Alaska, before moving to Colorado for a year. Side note, his dad is Brandon Drumm, former Colorado all-time great and NFL running back, or he's one of those guys that had the big neck brace. So he is rated a 3-star prospect, committed to West Virginia today, not even a couple hours ago, where he said, I'm home on social media, and he's flipped over from Cal Poly. He also had Montana State and other teams that wanted him, but West Virginia jumped in with an offer here. His official visit to West Virginia over the weekend and during the bye week kind of led to his commitment. He had 56 catches for over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns last year as a senior. He is the 33rd commitment in West Virginia's 2026 class and the 5th receiver overall. He's going to be targeted as an outside wide receiver that can stretch it and win isolated matchups, in my opinion, guys. And he gives West Virginia a talented option. He's talented, guys. Go watch the tape. I say it all the time, right? Before you judge anybody, just go watch the tape. Decide for yourself if they're good or not. I'm not saying he's going to turn into an all Big 12 player. I'm not saying that he is a bad player, right? I'm saying he's talented. He's clearly deserving of a scholarship offer here. And if you go watch the tape, you'll see that. The reason he is, in my opinion, a little bit under the radar is, like I said, he spent 3 years of his high school career in Alaska. And a lot of times what happens is when you don't get recruited for those first 3 years, or especially your junior year, you're undervalued. And by the time you hit the market as a senior, people's recruiting classes are filled up and all that. So, sometimes guys like him get a little overlooked a little bit. Well, West Virginia came calling, and other teams are starting to come call, from what I'm told as well. It wasn't just West Virginia. So he was going to get a couple other Power 5 offers, and West Virginia jumped in here at the last minute. So that's how it ended up for him. Like I said, 56 catches, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. So, he is going to be playing in the same Big 12 that his father played in, right? So that's a big deal. I think it'll be great for him to play in a conference his dad played in. Obviously, probably feels a little slighted by Colorado, but you only played in that, in the state for 1 year, and you'd have to really tear it up to get recognition. He's got a good combination of size and speed at the wide receiver position. He displays really good concentration, guys. His best stuff, in my opinion, are these back shoulder catches or those catches where the ball's underthrown and he's got to turn around and he's got to reel it in. That's where he's very, very good. He's got incredible hand-eye coordination. It's its best quality that nobody talks about that I've seen so far that I think gets him a leg up on some of the competition. He just tracks the ball. Some people are like Randy Moss. I mean, I'm not saying this guy's Randy Moss by any stretch. I'm just saying, using him as an example, Randy Moss is the best tracker of the football of all time. There's a reason he could – remember what I told you guys a few weeks ago about having late hands as a receiver? If you have late hands as a receiver, that keeps the defensive back from knowing that you're about to try to catch the ball, right? If you're holding your hands out as soon as the ball comes out to try to catch that ball and track it, they're gonna be onto you right away, right? They're gonna get in position and they're gonna turn around. But if you just look back like you're running your route any other day of the week, and then wait to the last minute to put the hands out and then reel that thing in, it's what receivers are taught for the most part. It's because at the highest levels in Division I or NFL specifically, you can't give them any edge. They're just too good. So Randy Moss was the greatest of all time at that. That's the reason he could just look, and at the very last minute he could stick his hand out and it'd just stick to it. This kid's got some of that to his game. He really does. He's got the late hands, which I really love. He gets in and out of breaks really good. This is probably what I like the most about him. And the reason I compare him to Weimer is because he's a route runner. It's what gets him open. He's really good on in-breaking routes, out-breaking routes. He's good on stop and start kind of routes. If you want to do a hitch and go or whatever, he's really good there. And he breaks a lot of tackles. And I think he will continue to do so, which he's a nice size receiver at 6'2"-ish, 180, 190, somewhere in there. So he's going to get bigger. He is a fearless return guy as well. So you look at him and say, okay, he can play multiple positions, and he's going to be cross-trained. Ryan Garrett was the primary recruiter here who built a strong relationship throughout the process. And I think at the end of the day, this is a kid that you're going to develop. I don't see him personally. I don't think he'll get on the field year one. Anything's possible. Anything's possible if he plays well enough. I would imagine this is a kid that'll probably get playing time in year 2 and beyond at West Virginia, but he's got potential. Absolutely got potential. He's a good player, and I just think he's one of those guys at 6'2", 180, 190. He's going to get in there and gain 10 pounds. Maybe he'll lose some flab and gain some muscle. I don't know. I haven't seen him in person. Just making guesses here. Oh, by the way, he's a very good blocker. There's a huge section of his highlight tape dedicated to showing him as a blocker. So keep in mind that West Virginia is going to recruit to that. West Virginia has to recruit receivers that are going to be, I would say, at least 50-50 blocking, receiving kind of players that are receivers, not tight ends, because in order to run the run game that West Virginia runs, you have to target blocking wide receivers as well. Guys like Hines Ward that just don't care to get their nose in it and just be elite at it. And so if they develop as an incredible pass catcher as well, then great. But, you got to get guys that are willing blockers to start. If you're recruiting a guy that just doesn't block and he's a good receiver, you're going to get a guy that comes in and maybe becomes a good receiver but never blocks. And so that limits to when you can play in him. Every receiver on the team, and this is kind of what makes West Virginia a little different, all teams have receivers that need to block. Very few demand blocking out of their receivers like West Virginia does. They overemphasize it. So just keep in mind that. And I think that's probably what this guy will be doing a lot of too, especially early on as he develops as a college receiver. So he's got a lot of potential to be a good pass catching receiver, especially on go balls, jump balls, because he's 6'2", adjusting to balls that are underthrown. Like that's the kind of thing this kid does. I wouldn't say he's some speed freak that's going to blow by everybody. While certainly he has some speed, he's more of a route runner, in my opinion, and a guy that's just got good hands and willing blocker. So somebody West Virginia likes. I'm excited about him. I think he'll develop into something good. And if not, maybe he'll be in the portal a year from now. I don't know, but I certainly think he's going to be good. So let's go to break. I want to get into a conversation about Ross Hodge here, as there are people that are calling for his job, and quite a few at that. I'm just kind of shocked to see this. We'll talk about it after the break. All right, we're back here, guys, in segment 3 in Locked On West Virginia. Thank you so much for joining in on another episode, guys, as we dive into a little conversation. I'm going to do a video at large about this, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'll just cut this out as its own segment and repost it. But, Ross Hodge, I don't have much up to look at as far as numbers goes. But, this is the thing that I'll just say this, because I have a couple of things I want to talk about in this segment. If you're saying that he should be fired at this point in time, that's delusional. It's delusional to think it would even be possible. It's not going to happen, first of all. So why even say it? Like this is a Rimbaker pick. This guy's going to get 2 to 3, possibly 4 years to do this, whether people like it or not. They've got elite recruiting. They've got Amir Jenkins. They've got Miles Sadler. They're going after other elite guys. This is year one. And I get it. Like, I think a lot of us had our expectations. Our expectations may have changed after Pitt, but Pitt just got beat by a team. I think it was a Duquesne or somebody that had a really good player on their team, by the way. He scored like 30-something on them. But, I think we have to readjust our expectations for this team. And maybe when Jackson Fields comes back, this team will undergo another little transformation. And we'll just have to figure out what this team looks like. But they're figuring it out. And it's going to take a few more games for them to do that. Once they do, I think you're going to find a team that you like. I think this is still a team that has potentially the chance to go to the tournament and win 18 to 20 games. But I do think that they have to figure a couple of things out, especially offensively. And this is just my opinion, as Amir, who is just 17, guys, maybe he's 18 now. He reclassified. He's not supposed to even go into college till next year. So you consider that and think, man, over the next 10 or 15 games, he's going to grow up a lot. I think Amir puts us in another stratosphere of potential. But, until he gets there, and I don't know if it's – and there's another part of this where it may not be this year for him because of his overall size. He's just a little bit too skinny to really make the impact I think he's capable of. If he puts on 10 pounds, guys, 15 pounds or something, Amir Jenkins has got a chance to be the best player on our team next year. So, he just needs some time to develop. But, the Ross Hodge firing things is like mind-boggling to me. I don't get it. He's done so many right things. And the only thing that he's done that's been vastly wrong, in my opinion, first of all, Xavier had the greatest shooting performance we've seen since Duke, potentially against West Virginia in the Final Four with Kyle Singler and all those guys. Like, it was one of the greatest shooting performances we've seen in a long time, and West Virginia was still in that game to win it. You also lost the lead to Clemson, and, that's the one that hurts the most because he made a mistake in that game. He didn't call timeout in the closing seconds when he left it on his players to do it. They didn't do it, and he was like he said, it was like a train wreck. I watched it happen. That's a mistake. on Ross Hodge, and it will be accredited to his legacy for now. Is it a major? No, because it's not in conference. It's not in the postseason. It's not in the conference tournament or anything like that. There was nothing on the line. It's literally an early season tournament that matters very little on the spectrum of things. So I would say this: it's a learning experience for sure. Ross Hodge is coaching high level basketball for his first time, as well. So let's give him some grace and he's going to make a couple mistakes, but he's done so much right along the way. I just don't think it's fair for people to be demanding this guy be fired. Crazy. Yeah, let's just lose Miles Sadler and everything we have built already for this first year that's going so well. Alio Doom is another 4-star player. We've never recruited like this. So let's not sit here and pretend like he's some bad coach or anything. He made one big mistake that I can see. Outside of that, Xavier had just an all-timer shooting performance. It's just the truth. I haven't seen 3 guys on it, but I'm sure Brad has some crazy numbers on that. So, guys, let's just be grace. Let's give them grace. They play again soon, Sunday, I believe it is. So they're going to have a week to stew on that tournament. That means they've got today's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 5 more days to stew on that loss to Xavier where they just shot lights out. Part of that was West Virginia's fault. Part of that was Xavier's fault. Or Xavier, what they did right. I've never seen a team make that many threes before on a West Virginia team. So, they had some players that really stroked it that day. So maybe that Xavier team is getting better and they had to learn some stuff. I don't know. I know one thing's for sure. Milicevic and Carroll are really good players. So, and Wright, the point guard, can play a little bit too. Outside of that, they weren't that impressive. But let's calm down the Ross Hodge fired stuff for now. I don't get this at all. So if that's something you're screaming, I would highly suggest you scream it somewhere else, because Ross Hodge is just flat out not coached anywhere near the number of games he needs to coach. You need to get like 60 games worth of, in my opinion anyway, you need to get like 50, 60 games deep before you can really, in basketball, say whether or not a guy is going to be the guy or not. It's just the way basketball goes. And we're building something. So, yeah, I was a little frustrated to hear that. I get the criticism, but I think people that are criticizing, and you got fence riders out there. There are going to be people that criticize him now and praise him later. And there are going to be people that praise him now and criticize him later. Just stick with him. I'm not going to be the guy that changes it unless something drastic happens and he makes really crazy decisions. Some of the substitution stuff, guys, I get it. Some people have mentioned that. I get that too. They're just trying to figure it out, and they're adding new players back. Literally, they've just added Chance Moore to the lineup. Now they have to, beyond this, they've got to add, obviously, Jackson Fields to the lineup even again, hoping that's this upcoming week or soon. But yeah, there's a lot going on there. I think it's a difficult situation, more difficult than people think. And this team will be much better than I think it has been the last couple games. So, and they're going to get on the winning track. I mean, if you look at their schedule upcoming, I think is it Mercyhurst next? I believe it's Mercyhurst next. Let's see. Yeah, Mercyhurst. So Mercyhurst is up next for West Virginia. And this is a team that they just played Marshall and lost by 9. They're 3-4. So you're probably going to get on the winning track in that game. So nothing to worry about too much, y'all. Let's just quit freaking out. This team will get back on the winning track. You've got Mercyhurst. You've got, I think I went over this the other day, but you've got Mercyhurst. You've got Coppin State. Then you got Little Rock after Wake Forest. So 3 out of the next 4 games, you should be locks to win. Wake Forest is, I don't know what their record is right now. They just beat Memphis. They're 4-2. Wake Forest is 4-2 as well. So, that's a game that probably, who knows what'll happen there. But Little Rock is, and they're a team that's made it to I get it. They are a team that's made it to the big dance here in the last few years, but they're 2-4. So you're going to beat them. And Coppin State, another good basketball school usually. Let's see where they're at. Yeah, they're playing really well. No, they're not. I just looked at their last game. They're 1-6. If you look at the last game they played, they beat somebody like 100-50 something. That's the only win there, but it's their only win. So combined, guys, I think the next 3 teams that West Virginia plays, not named Wake Forest, all have losing records or close to it. So we're going to win 3 of the next 4, maybe 4 of the next 4. And then before you know it, this team's going to be 9-2, and people are going to be shutting up about it, right? That's it. So, if you'd have told me he's going to start 9-2, I'd have been okay with it, especially with the backyard brawl win. Are you kidding me? And then if you look a little further up through the schedule, before you get to conference play, there's a really good shot you win 10 games before conference, and that's perfectly fine. I'll take that. Obviously, Ohio State is one that could be a tough one, right? Ohio State's undefeated. So if you win that Ohio State game, baby, let's go. Can we please beat Ohio Stank? Can we please beat the Suck Eyes? I hate Ohio State with the burning passion of 5 billion suns. I hate Ohio State on the same level. This is just me personally, as somebody that was born and raised in West Virginia and unfortunately came on vacation but stayed on probation in Ohio. In all seriousness, though, I've lived in Ohio for about a little over a decade. Southern Ohio, right on the border of West Virginia. I'm 5 minutes from West Virginia, so I'm in West Virginia all the time. But yeah, obviously a lot of my friends are Ohio State fans. That's all they know. Can't even have a conversation with them about it. So I hate Ohio State as much as Pitt. So that's just me. For a lot of reasons, I root against them in everything and every sport they do, and always have and always will. The girls do play tomorrow, correct? And what a win they had the other night. Did anybody else's ESPN app tell them that the women's team was losing, by the way, the other day? I was like, what the heck is going on? Why is the women losing? I had to turn the game on to figure out what was going on. All right. So the women's basketball team does have and it's a ranked game, I believe, isn't it? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's just a regular game. I'll be covering this and watching this. Are you kidding me? I'll be watching this and covering it. So let's see what the women do, man. I'm excited about it. Obviously love them. Watch them, keep up with every game they play. What is Ohio State's record? I'm curious to see. What have they done so far? I mean, it is Ohio State. They're 4-1. So they're a team that, West Virginia can't take they can't underestimate. So we'll see what happens there too. All right, guys. I was going to go over our entire recruiting class, all 32 guys or whatever, and just kind of give a little opinion on them. I'll say that for the next video. I'll just do it in the second segment or something like that. We'll go over it. But yeah, obviously a lot to be excited about coming up. We got the football game this weekend. We got the basketball game the day after. Man, what if we go 2-0 this weekend? What a weekend it could be. Could be an all-timer of a weekend. I know it sounds like it's preposterous, but man, I'm praying and hoping that we can get it pulled off, guys. You just never know. What's the weather going to be like? I still need to check on that. But yeah, let's get out of here. I got another video to do here in just a couple hours, so we got lots to talk about today right here on Locked On West Virginia. Like, share, subscribe. Please subscribe so I can keep my job. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. And guys, like I said, I always like to say this. Don't forget to check Locked On Big 12 out, as Drake Toll talks about the most exciting conference of college football, from the championship game and everything in between. You can find Locked On Big 12 on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. As always, don't forget to cue those country roads.